Televiewers, wherever you are, thanks for joining us once more in these prestigious programs of yours, Game of Thrones here on Info TV in the Yaoundé. Of course, today we'll be talking about two major topics that is making wave in Cameroon. It is, of course, corruption. Is the anti-corruption unit in Cameroon robust to fight against corruption in the country, or is it the lone entity that needs to combat these phenomena in the society? Aside that, we'll be talking about the re-election of Samuel Eto'o, president of the Cameroon Football Federation. He was just re-elected into power for a 4-year mandate, and of course this re-election has been creating a lot of talks around the country as Cameroonians are asking, is this position or his re-election is going to transform the football atmosphere in Cameroon? Are we expecting positive managerial insight when it concerns football? This, of course, will be what we'll be treating in the course of this program today, Game of Thrones. And of course, we do have panelists who are vested with these issues plaguing the society today in Cameroon. And one of them is no other person than Chi Diodone, who happens to be a communicator from the CPDM party. Good evening, Chi Diodone, and welcome to the program.
The SDF, please.
Yeah, SDF rather.
No. Thank you very much for the invitation, dear brother. Good evening. Good evening to my senior man with whom I am sharing this panel. Want to extend my sincere encouragements to you as a young man in the journalism field, and to pray that the grace of God see you through, make your career bright. It's a prayer from my heart. Having said that, I want to greet our televiewers and the family of the Social Democratic Front, and to use this opportunity to extend the empathy of the Social Democratic Front towards the biological and political family, and of course the Cameroonian people in general, respect to the death of Anissé Ekane under very, very unfortunate circumstances. The Social Democratic Front, through my voice, is extending her empathy and is calling on the powers that be to make sure that an independent, credible investigation is carried out to establish responsibilities around the demise of this man. That said, I want to go further to say that Cameroonians are more and more becoming an endangered species in their country, especially when they want to push forward for things to be better. When we're calling for a commission when we're calling for an independent investigation, we still remain suspicious and even not sure that it will happen, because as I speak to you today, we're asking ourselves, what happened when Wazizi died? We don't yet know why Wazizi died. Archbishop Benoit Bala, we don't know. The torture of Longue, which for which an investigation was opened by the Minister of Defense, we don't yet know the result of that torture. Among many other examples, many other cases of torture in our country, we are becoming an endangered species, especially those that are pushing for things to change positively in this country. And it is high time that the state takes its responsibility. In a serious country, the parliament would have already put a commission of parliamentary inquiry to investigate into this kind of matters, issues of torture, the issue of political prisoners, how they are treated, journalists being taken, and very soon you hear that they are died. The case of Martinez Zogo is yet to be exhausted. Thank you. We think that the state must stand up for its people. Parliament at this point in time is supposed to have opened and supposed to have put in place a commission of parliamentary inquiry to look into issues like this. But unfortunately, we are just coming to the end of a budget session during which Parliament used less than 3 days to examine the state budget. It is very unfortunate.
Thank you, Chi Diodone, communicator from the SDF opposition party in Cameroon, the Social Democratic Front. I'll go back to you. On my left, we have Barrister Michael Lekelefak. Good evening and welcome once more to the program.
Good evening, Mr. Phillips. Good evening to my co-panelists and good evening to the millions of televiewers of Info TV. It is my pleasure to be here this evening. Though I would like to join my voice to that of Mr. Chi, though not as from the point of the political family, the Social Democratic Front as he is, but as a lawyer and as an activist of the civil society who has been preaching peace and reconciliation, to extend my sincere condolences to the family of Anisette Ekane, who happened to have died under conditions of detention. And it caused my attention as a lawyer to say that, is there justice in Cameroon? Is there justice in Cameroon that we have detainees dying under detention, whereas we have some others who are being evacuated for treatment out of Cameroon? So when you look at all this, you begin to see that we are moving, as days are passing, the hopelessness keep growing in our country, to say, where are we heading to? If we don't come back to sit on the platform, on the table, to discuss that, yes, this is a nation which belongs to all of us. Each and everyone has to feel belonged to this nation, and each of us has to feel the protection, has to feel that none is indispensable, and in that we need to reconcile, we need to let justice prevail, that people, this sort of unfortunate events should not keep repeating in our country.
That's, of course, Barrister Lekelefak. Michael, thanks very much for your intervention. And, of course, we do have our two major topics, and we're going to treat them thoroughly as the program unfolds. But before we dive directly to what we have for you, or start treating the first topic, let's do have this transition. I'll be back in a moment. Just joining us, this is Full Television here in Yaoundé, and of course we dive directly to our first topic today, which is of course anti-corruption unit. Is it robust enough to curb corruption in Cameroon? We actually know that we have anti-corruption unit, which of course is KUNAK, that has been making efforts to combat these phenomena in the society. But to an extent, some Cameroonians feel that their efforts are still to be appreciated. I'll comment with you, Chi Dieudonné, communicator from the SDF party. When you look at the atmosphere in Cameroon, talking about corruption in the country, do you think the commissions that we do have are making efforts to curb these phenomena in the society?
The issue is that the National Anti-Corruption Committee was created and everything was put in place for it not to work properly. I often see the measures taken to fight corruption in Cameroon as a witch hunting operation. And when it is seen as a witch hunting operation, you can conclude from there that the much expected results, which is sanity in the management of our public affairs, which is accountability, which is deterrence to deter people from even thinking that they have to embezzle state funds and practice other forms of corruption. is far from being attained. Let me demonstrate this. You see, the foundation of corruption starts with the system through which people are recruited. The main mode of recruitment in Cameroon, politically.
When you talk about recruitment, what kind of recruitment are you talking about?
That's what I'm going to. The main mode of recruitment in Cameroon, politically, is through elections. Since the return to multi-party politics in 1990, almost every election is highly contested. We are not saying that there is a possibility of having a perfect election. No human endeavor is perfect. Perfection to mathematicians, to those who have done maths, can be described as an asymptote. We strive to approach it. We strive to approach it, but it is an impossibility. But what people appreciate is the determination with which you want to approach it and how close you are to it. So I'm telling you that the mode of recruitment, the principal mode of recruitment in Cameroon, which is elections. Take note that Cameroon is defined as a democratic republic. The principal mode of recruitment within a democratic system, or a system that has democratic orientation, is election. When elections themselves are characterized by alarming corruption, alarming corruption and fraud. Please let me. Yes.
We don't have only elections in Cameroon. People do have daily lives. We have institutions in the country. We have financial institutions in the country. We have moral institutions in the country. Cameroonians are living on a daily basis. They do have access to basic services now in various both public and private sectors. Do you think that they are satisfied with the services rendered to them?
Sir, the question you ask a question that will not permit your viewers to understand. I'm sorry to say this. You see, the state has what we call the exorbitant prerogatives of public power. You cannot compare those that exercise state authority with a religious authority or with a political party with this. They have powers that permit them to say this is the way we go. And for people who are the ones like the President of the Republic, like the parliamentarians, like the mayors, take note that when you will be talking about CONAC, members who are in CONAC are appointed by the President of the Republic. But who appoints the President of the Republic? The President of the Republic is elected. The parliamentarians are elected. How can you understand that budget is deposited systematically almost late and people feel like it is nothing? Don't you see something is wrong? That's why I'm telling you that one of the reasons why CONAC is not functioning or cannot function or was made not to function properly to give the desired result is that, first of all, the principal mode of recruitment, the principal mechanism of recruitment, elections, is highly questionable. We have stories of stolen victories in this country. We have so many allegations of fraud. And you know that when people come to power through means that are outrightly fraudulent, we are not saying that fraud will be eliminated 100%, but when it is outrightly fraudulent, when it is flagrant, you understand that these are people who cannot come and do things rightly because they are, first of all, the outcome of things that were wrongly done. They are the outcome of elections that were wrongly done. They are not, they don't enjoy democratic legitimacy. They don't have that weight on, they don't enjoy credibility because the people did not freely choose them in a majority. This is now, when these people, pardon?
Who corrupted who in the process that you're trying to explain to Cameroonians?
Who corrupted who?
Who is corrupting who?
No, you should ask this question to courts, to the law courts. When we raise allegations of fraud, when you see on social media, you see videos, when people come out, like I've been saying it time without number, and tell you, hitting their chest with outright arrogance, that I and this person and this person and this person and this person, we stole elections and gave this person. I'm talking about Zonga. When people tell you outrightly like that, you still want to ask me to answer that question, who corrupted who? The court should answer that question. And I said some time ago, that The issue of elections is supposed to be, is an issue of sovereignty. And the state is supposed to give itself means to make sure that the democratic system of Cameroon functions. It's not supposed to be a function of the power of this political party, the ability of this political party, or the ability of that political party. The country has a democratic system, and the state should give that democratic system the means to function properly in the best interest of everybody. When we talk issues of electoral fraud, I've said that even electoral fraud should be qualified as a felony. And once qualified as a felony, the judges should auto-seize themselves. When allegations of electoral fraud are brought up, let the court auto-seize themselves and establish the truth. In the Northwest and Southwest regions, you recently saw, I said it, that there is a hypothesis which is on the table. And with my own experience in the Northwest, I see ghost voters. How is that established? All right, I'm not the court. But where are the courts in the matter? There is a problem. When somebody says it's stolen election, when Dongbang says it's stolen elections and get President Pubi, have you had anybody get up and say, why can you say this? Why are you saying this? No, nobody is saying that, meaning they accept it. So we're saying that CONAC was made not to function because, first of all, the foundation of recruiting those that manage state affairs is, first of all, fraudulent, is corrupted. Now, who is now appointing CONAC? It is the President of the Republic. The President of the Republic, who is the outcome of a corrupt electoral process, of a fraudulent electoral process, is appointing CONAC, and he appoints CONAC and tells CONAC that you will make reports and give to me, and I will now be the one to determine who is going to court to answer for whatsoever. Which means that CONAC does not have the means to say that Enchi is being accused of embezzlement, he should be taken to court. They are taking it to the President of the Republic. Whoever declared that the President of the Republic was a saint somewhere where the President of the Republic cannot steal? Who is controlling the President of the Republic? Section 66 of the Constitution is there. And one of the things why CONAC will not work is that, like I said, its measures look more like witch hunting. Because if the fight against corruption was to be taking a holistic approach, Section 66 of the Constitution would have been the first measure to take, so that you know that everybody, those that are exercising public office, have declared their property, and that the people who are responsible to, administratively and technically fight against corruption have the power to control everybody, including the head of state. That the judiciary is independent enough to try anybody, because you see, corruption is more and more an issue of security. I said it one time ago that the President of the Republic was talking about terrorism. Each time he talks about terrorism, that we should fight terrorism with our last energy. But the President of the Republic forgets that there is what I call state-paying terrorists. People who, through their governance, have frustrated Cameroonians to push them to embrace violence. To embrace violence as a means of expressing themselves.
Thank you very much, Tj communicator from the SDF political party in Cameroon. I'll come to you, Michael Ekelefak. You are a barrister at law. It is very obvious that you do have an insight when it concerns the manifestations of corruption, wheresoever it finds itself. And we have institutions in Cameroon. We have powerful institutions that, of course, have been put in place to curve out these phenomena in the society. Now, do you think that what has been put in place in Cameroon, do you think Cameroonians are enjoying, despite the fact that it cannot be extinct from the society 100%, but Cameroonians can go about their daily activities? Cameroonians can have access to basic services, public services, private services, without being influenced by this moral inaptitude.
Thank you, Mr. Enchi. I think I will not be different from what Mr. Chi has been saying, though I will not want to go in the same vein which as he has been saying, but I will say that he has been so much focusing on the mode of acquisition of power in Cameroon, which is through election, but perhaps he even forgot that in 1982, power was being given and there was no election. So if he is talking about 1990, after 1990 to talk about elections, one can understand from his perspective. But in Cameroon, power was simply being given as a gift. So if you give something as a gift to somebody who does not know the value and who cannot use it as it should be used for the interest of the general welfare of the people, and it becomes what it becomes today, one can only regret it.
Have you ever suffered any iota of corruption?
We live corruption on a daily basis, and so when I said I would not want to go with what Mr. Chi, no, I'm not opposing to him, but just to add more flesh to what he was saying, that the mode of designation, as he is saying, is there, but the true problem is not even the mode of designation, but that the vision of the leaders, the powers that be in Cameroon, is with respect to the fight of corruption. There is no fight per se, but that they have institutionalized corruption to be part and parcel of the life of Cameroonians.
What do you mean by institutionalizing corruption?
I say it is the corruption today in Cameroon, it is as difficult to identify who is corrupting and who is not corrupting in Cameroon. I want to take an example for you to understand. The forces of law and order who are supposed to accompany us in our respective fight. I mean, I want to take a simple example to illustrate. If you used to ply the roads, you will see drivers, the behavior of drivers, this interurban transport. You see the drivers are working with their documents. When he comes at a control, he stops at a control, he takes maybe 1,000 francs, he puts with the file containing his documents, and he goes.
He was not forced to do that.
No, what we are saying is this. When I say it is institutionalized,
it means he's part and parcel of
what
he is the one promoting, because he wasn't asked to give.
The person who is receiving and not controlling the documents, who is the maybe the gendarme or the police officer, they understand the manner in which they collect. When he comes to the document, he knows that he collects, and he allows the drivers to go. So they are living. When you talk about institutionalizing it, Mr. Enchi, it may sound somehow abstract for you to understand, but let's take the salaries of Cameroonians today and the life of Cameroonians today. You will discover that the pay package of the pay package in the civil service cannot meet up with what the Cameroonians are living, and that is why corruption. People who stand up to fight corruption become the exception, but the corruption you have to complement with corruption in order to meet up with your demands. So now, when I talk about institutionalizing it, we can talk about CONAC. Yes, CONAC is there. When you look at CONAC is simply an institution which is to carry out inquiry, investigation.
Are you telling Cameroonians that CONAC is a toothless bulldog?
Of course, CONAC has virtually nothing to do with the fight against corruption, because once the report they conduct only in inquiries, they carry out their inquiries, and they come out with the reports which are being channeled to the president of the Republic. It is the President of the Republic who can now send sees through the visa of the President of the Republic that the courts can be seized in a case of a corruption. It is not that CONAC can directly make a report and move the report from the CONAC to the court. It moves to the Presidency of the Republic. It is from the Presidency of the Republic that the matter we can now seize the court about a case of corruption. Even at the level of the courts that we are talking, why can we go to create special criminal courts today that this is a court to fight against corruption? And not only creating this court, but we make a provision of the law that if you are being prosecuted for corruption and that you come to restitute, if you are being prosecuted for the embezzlement of the embezzlement or misappropriation of 1 million, and that that is just example, and that now you accept restituting this 1 million to the state coffers, the action should be discontinued, which means it is just a mere play, some sort of it's a game, it's a play, that a theater act that the regime is using to silence some people.
Barrister Michael, the people that are involved in corruption, they are human beings, they are Cameroonians.
Yes.
And it is very obvious that people are asking, why is it that something that you consider evil, something that you consider not worthy of appreciation, but you do involve yourself in it, the government, the institutions that have been put in place are not the one coming to your house to tell you to go and do what you're supposed to do, but there are people who voluntarily do this. Don't you think there is something wrong somewhere?
Mr. Enchi, we should not speak as if we are living in a different country from the Cameroon we are living today. When people do not corrupt in Cameroon because they like it, but they are forced to do that. I say that when you go and you submit your documents in an office where you have to come over and over and over, the document is not moving from the same spot. What will you do? Where will you go to denounce? And the person who is in the office where your document
always follow up committees in various ministerial departments, even in parapublic departments.
Very good. Well said. I like that. But you still want to deny the fact that when you talk about follow-up, the President of the Republic himself has, in one of his addresses to the nation, recognized the administrative bottlenecks, the inertia which is manning his own the administration of the state, which means even in the follow-up, as Mr. Chi was talking about the elections. I don't want to look about elections. Take the state personnel today who are being recruited. When people are being recruited on basis of nepotism, basis of tribalism, basis that there are no objective criteria to recruit into the public service, and you bring people who are just loyal to one person and who have just no consideration for the person whom they are called to serve. What do you expect to become? Corruption in Cameroon is institutionalized. They have the policies which are there do not permit Cameroonians to live without corruption, and that is why the fight becomes just some sort of a formality, not a genuine fight. And I will still go back to what Mr. Chi was saying, quoting Article 66 of the Constitution, which talks about declaration of asset. The people are supposed to be the example. We should fight through example. If you are the President of the Republic, if you are a minister, we have just had a presidential elections in this country, how many candidates declared their asset, and what was the commission which was charged with enforcing this Article 66, so that we know that Mr. Chiu is vying for the post of the President of the Republic, this is his asset, so that if you become elected as the President of the Republic, we see that your lifestyle is moving fast ahead of what you are ending. We can now begin to question, but where are you getting these additional funds from which you are living sumptuously?
Thank you very much. Barrister Lekefaka. Michael, I'll come to you. Achidjidone, you are not comfortable with certain things that is troubling your mind, but it's very obvious that in Cameroon today, when we're talking about the fight against something, it entails or needs the presence of each and every Cameroonian. It is not only a particular authority that needs to stand there and fight against it, because the institutions are rendering services to Cameroonians, and Cameroonians, of course, are there performing these acts and making sure that we do grow. Now, when it comes to the fight against corruption, do you think it is only the institutions that needs to intensify the fight, or do you think there's supposed to be a moral rearmament from the primary level?
You know, the fight against corruption is supposed to be done in a holistic manner, because corruption is something that is very dangerous. It destroys the nation. It destroys the lives of people. It even kills people. You know, when money that could have built a hospital is not used to build that hospital, people lose their lives because that hospital is not there. When money that would have been used to industrialize the country is not used for that purpose, and later on, youths are jobless, and don't see a future in their country, they become frustrated. Some of them even die in the Mediterranean Sea, and even in the country. You see how devastating corruption can be. Now, looking at the huge negative impact of corruption in the life of a country, the fight against corruption is supposed to be holistic. The moral institutions, the churches, will do their best to always preach the gospel against corruption. Bring out the chapters in the spiritual books. Is it in the Bible? Is it in the Quran? Or is it in our African customs to conscientize the people that, look, this is not right, it's not good to do this, it's not good to do that. Now, even political parties have a role to educate the people, you know, to conscientize the people. All this is done. But like I told you from the very beginning, these responsibilities are there, but everybody does not have the same power within a state. There is something that they call exorbitant prerogatives of public power. The ability to impose a way for others to follow.
But those who are in power, they can't exercise their duty without the pressure from the population. Now, don't you think without the participation of the population, this aspect of moral decadence, term corruption, won't be escalating in the society today?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this particular question. Because the Constitution of the Republic also says that sovereignty belongs to the Cameroonian people. Sovereignty is the supreme power within the nation to decide which direction the nation takes. Which means that the people are at the center of governance. Whether the present democratic dispensation permits them to express, to be able to exercise that power properly or not. How proper the people will exercise this power depends on their determination to exercise the power. So I agree with you, and I think that the Cameroonian people who are watching me now, who know that there is an article in the Constitution, Article 66, for the declaration of assets which has not been applied since 1996, who, you know, have to take their responsibility to make sure that when elections are called, let them make sure that those who are manning the institutions now, who have not done anything for these laws to be applied, for the fight against corruption to be done properly, those people should not be elected. Those people should not be elected. Whether it is in Parliament, whether it is in the National Assembly, whether it is in Council, all of them who have maintained a doubtful attitude against the fight, towards the fight against corruption, all of them should be sidelined by the people. I think that if the people take that as their mantra, that as we are going in for next election, no matter what you are coming to tell us, no matter what program you are coming to tell us, if you are coming from a political party that we know that with respect to the fight against corruption, you people have been playing the lukewarm attitude. You people have never wanted Article 66 to be applied. We are saying that you are out of way. And then we look at those that have been very vocal and those that are advocating that they can do something. We go inside now and we choose candidates. The church has a role to play constantly to encourage those that are God-fearing to aspire for public office and go to the people and seek for their votes. Let them have the opportunity to implement those good values that have church. And some people will tell me, most of these people who are running public offices today, we see them but in the front line benches of churches. But I'm saying this, if you people choose somebody today and the next day you see that that person is not doing the right thing, you people should continue looking for the right person. Make sure that you stay awake, be vigilant, observe anybody you choose. If that person is not complying and doing things the way it's supposed to be done, be ready to sanction that person.
People keep complaining that when they do go to certain organizations or institutions seeking for services. Some of them are being asked of money. That's some of the claims that's stemming from people, but there hasn't been any visible example to actually subject the views of these people to Cameroonians. Now, tell us, now, do you think it is appropriate for a Cameroonian, for an individual to walk up to an institution or to a services that ought to be rendered for free and entice the person with a token? Is it appropriate?
It is not desired. It is not desired. But like my senior man on the other side told you, sometimes people get to that end because of the dynamics in which they find themselves. But that is not how it's supposed to be. In principle, that is not how it's supposed to be. That is supposed to be, you know, in very exceptional cases. But we are in a situation where it is almost a norm.
If you keep saying that it's supposed to be in a very exceptional cases, meaning you are in line with the promotion of these moral decadence.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm trying to be very rational and correct to you to make you and our televiewers understand that you cannot. It is not possible to totally eradicate corruption. It's not possible.
You
say you do that, you mean you are getting to a situation where we have a perfect country or a perfect world, but that perfect world is an asymptote. But now, corruption should not be given. We shouldn't have the perception that corruption is a norm. When it becomes a norm, that is when it is alarming, very destructive. But
is it a norm in Cameroon? Is it a norm in Cameroon? Because the laws that has been set aside do frowns at the practice of corruption in Cameroon. If you're being caught being corrupt or corrupting someone, it is very obvious that legal actions can be taken against you. But today, when you talk about making statements like this, do you think it is people do that? People do that maybe because they want a quick service. At the end of the day, because they want quick services, they do come with tokens to entice those who are supposed to offer the service. They are corrupting the people who are working on their behalf.
Well, when the person who brings a token gives you, you accept. In corruption, there is the corruptor and there is the corrupted. And all of you are parties. When the person who brings you the token gives you, you are not forced to accept. When you accept, you people are now parties to corruption, all of you. But what I'm trying to say is this: the institutions that have been put in place, are not put in place in such a way that they can function to achieve the highest possible results with respect to the fight against corruption. These institutions are there. When we are saying, for example, that before you putting in place CONAC, apply first of all Article 66. Put everybody on the same lane with respect to the fight against corruption. Starting with the President of the Republic, who is not the #1 boss of Cameroonians, but the #1 servant of the Cameroonian people. He is supposed to be subject to this fight against corruption by declaring his own assets, causing his ministers to declare their own assets, giving CONAC or whatever institution is put in place the ability to be able to bring out reports against people and have the powers to try these people. Give them the, we are in an Android age now. We have technological facilities that permit us to track acts of corruption faster and act promptly.
Before I'll come back to you, let me, of course, get the opinion of Barrister Lekalafa Michael. You come to discover that in various administrative or public institutions, of course, we do have, there's a little box that are being set aside for Cameroonians in case they do identify any aspect of corruption, misappropriation, and so on and so forth. They should tender their plea or maybe write something so that a commission can pass by and easily identify them. But do you think this, of course, is really active?
Mr. Enchi, I like your questions. Why do I say I like your questions? Because your questions here, they are touching on what we are living on a daily basis. But the question is, of what impact? we want to question the impact. Those boxes are there for formality.
Why is it that Cameroonians are using the boxes?
The Cameroonians are using. I think we should not stop. We should stop accusing Cameroonians here. Cameroonians have been caught in a dilemma where they have no choice than to support what they are doing. I am not cautioning corruption. I have been a victim of it. That many people, you are saying, you go to an office that asks you, do you think you want to be the one to change Cameroon? If you are, I'm saying not from I hear say, but I'm telling you what I've been personally reproached. Do you think you'll be the one to change Cameroon? So when you begin to hear this, and if you don't have the courage, if you don't have that determination, how will you do? Those boxes are there. Go around, you see that they make placards, and even connection and the anti-corruption unit connect. You go around the court, you see their flyers talking about corruption, denouncing corruption and all the like. But these are just there for formalities. Institutions, I like when you say the institutions we have people are like semi-gods in institutions serving the public. When you come and they are there, the purpose of administration, raison d'etre of administration in Cameroon has not been understood to the public servant.
And who needs to do that?
That is why I said the vision of the person who incarnates the sovereignty of the people.
A person cannot do it.
No,
it needs a collaboration between the Cameroonians and the authorities.
The collaboration, the Cameroonian people, the Cameroonian people are working. Permit me. If you read through the Post newspaper, I think
without publicity.
The publicity. I'm not making publicity, but I'm just giving you an article where you see a man of God saying that if people want government to go, and government does not want to go, it be the church to drive, which is to tell you that what the situation Cameroonians are living is a question that it may be a handful of individuals are manning the affairs of the state against the general welfare of the people. So when I say the vision, what is the vision? If you look at the anti-corruption, like we are talking about, if you are talking about CONAC is just one. You have Supreme State Audit, which is another one. You have ANIF. There are so many of these. There are so many of these institutions. We don't need. We have the audit bench of the Supreme Court. We don't have. There are so many.
Are these institutions doing their job?
The job is there. It is not the fact of doing the job which is there. The vision, but what you need in leadership, you need that person who will not preach, who will not lead by preaching, but who will lead by the example. If you go, you create institutions and you bring your lawyer servants to the institutions, people shall be subject to your what you say and not working for the welfare of the people. What do you expect?
Barrister, Cameroonians are not subjected to the authorities. The authorities are there to serve the people. Meaning, if at the end of the day they want a clean society, they need to collaborate. But now, if some Cameroonians are out there promoting with token to some of these authorities, don't you think that is where the problem lies?
When you say Cameroonians, you are talking about authorities.
I say some.
Yes, you are talking about some. Let's go back. We are just from elections. We are just from elections in this country, and Mr. Chi was telling you how the same people you are calling authorities, the same people you are presuming to be authorities who are put to serve the people, if they are the one leading the examples to come, teach people to corrupt by buying your votes, by doing all the devices which are not necessary in a society which is supposed to be a harmonious society. What do you expect of the common man who is supposed to look at the example of that person? So that is why I said it is institutionalized.
But why some Cameroonians who felt that they have been maybe cheated somewhere, why can't they report some of these cases to the authorities?
Do you think that they are not reporting? Cameroonians are reporting. That we are not. When we are looking, if I'm condemning Mr. Enchi, it's not that there are times you may seize CONAC and CONAC will tell you this your case is not within my jurisdiction.
Are you talking from an experience?
I say that at times you may seize CONAC, and CONAC will tell you this case is. I mean, you are seizing CONAC for a case of fight against corruption, but CONAC would simply decline jurisdiction to say no, this case is not. It's not within my competence. They may even give you their how do you call it, their constitution, their organigram. This is what we are working on, which means your case doesn't fall under my. But there is a clearing case of corruption. What do you expect in that matter? So what we are saying, in as much as we are calling on Cameroonians to renounce acts of corruption, we cannot succeed if the vision of the leadership which is in place is not going in line with what Cameroonians expect.
What do you think Cameroonians are expecting?
We expect a transparent administration, not an opaque administration. We expect that the public service should not become a place where I am a minister, Mr. Enchi, who is my son, becomes becomes the next in line to be a minister or a director in a state or a parastatal.
But if they are competent, they can still man the position.
Well, yes, when you talk about the competence, and that is why today, when you look at some schools today, you can, like we're talking about ENAM, which is of saving of, to me, ENAM has no role in our country today, because if you go to ENAM, you see that it will take the grace of God to see the son of a peasant farmer who cannot purchase at ENAM.
There are so many of them out there.
There are so many. When you say there are so many of them, you may, I don't know, but I'm simply telling you that when you see these institutions who are there, like try to reproduce a system which is a failed system by creating these institutions. So what I am saying, and I think we need to look. These are issues which we are going through, our society is going through. And we as Cameroonians, we need all to come and denounce this, denounce and renounce from this habit, because they are not helping. Mr. Chi told you a while ago, that corruption kills more than any other, and it is true, because once the money is squandered, what you are supposed, the health services you are supposed to have, you don't have them, and you die because of that. Potable water, we have people who are dying because it may be they are being infected with the poor water system. So there are all these things, corruption, because the money which is supposed to be used to cater for these social amenities is either being appropriated or used for other purposes not meant to meet the general welfare of the people. So, to talk the administration, every administrator today, and you will know that there is a lot of circumference in the administration, the public service today. When I am a minister, you are my the appointment which are being done. There are no objective criteria to serve in the public service.
Mr. Lekelefak, we have entrance examinations today in Cameroon. Talking about the ENAM, we have you get into that institution thanks to an entrance examinations, and there are other institutions in Cameroon that do entertain students, train them at the end of the day, and they are administrators, and they are, of course, are producing the results that Cameroonians are expecting. But I'll come back to you in a moment. I'll put this to you, Chi Diodone. It is very obvious that you are complaining of the non-effectiveness of some of the institutions in Cameroon meant to combat this phenomenon, the society talking about corruption. Now, do you think for over the years there has been some progress in the fight against this phenomenon, given the fact that there are major institutions in the country that, of course, are operating freely, and some Cameroonians are working in these institutions and rendering service to Cameroonians too?
Well, you have already answered the question. You have made mention of the snail-paced improvement in the fight against corruption.
The question is very simple.
Yes.
Do we have any progress?
You have already answered. You said there are institutions and people are working in these institutions. We have seen some people being judged at the Special Criminal Court for acts of embezzlement. Not so? These are the institutions we're talking about. the Supreme the audit bench of the Supreme Court
is it satisfactory?
Is producing its report.
Is it satisfactory?
It's producing its report, and if we produce its own, CONAC does its own. So at first they were not there. The reports were not even available. So for me to say there is no progress, I will be acting out of bad faith. But the progress is a snail-paced progress. And permit me remind our televiewers that the Social Democratic Front has played a very instrumental role for us to have these institutions that we have today. Take note that the SDF kickstart effectively at national level the fight against corruption in this country with the Muchipo affair in 1997, where it was shown that somebody was able to award contracts, get contracts executed, and receive the totally executed public markets within a period of about 5 weeks or so, if my memory is very correct. And went the CPD and parliamentary group, of course, under the informed leadership of the late chairman John Frundi, brought out the fact that we are suffering from an endemic disease called corruption, instead of just blaming the economic crisis of the world, as they have been fond of telling us that the world faced economic crisis, that is why we are suffering. Corruption was there, embezzlement was going on, and the SDF put forth that fight. And immediately after that, Operation Epervier came. These institutions that you are talking about now came, but unfortunately, it turned around to look more like a witch hunting operation, where it gave an individual or some individuals the powers to take away their political enemies. So it is not moving at a satisfactory pace.
What needs to be done, Chijodone?
What needs to be done is that we have seen the limits of the strongman system of rule. We need strong institutions, not strong people. Because when strong people are there, they are very powerful, and it is said that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So when people are instead strong, when individuals are too strong, what you expect of them is that the tendency for them to be very corrupt is very high. And if you know that that tendency for them to be very corrupt is so high, you don't expect them to fight the very nature that they now have because of the exorbitant powers that individual has. The exorbitant prerogatives of state power are supposed to belong to institutions and not to an individual. The fight against corruption should not be, the fight against corruption should not be the outcome of the goodwill of somebody or the largesse of somebody. It should be an institutional affair that is above every individual. Take note that people do not respect the law. That is barrister there. People do not in principle respect the law because they know the virtue of the law. They respect the law because of the fear of sanction. That is the highest reason that causes people to respect the law. Even God himself talks about sanctions in the Bible and in other spiritual books, even in our African customs. Now, we need a system whereby we put in place institutions, functional institutions, and legal mechanisms that make people scared, so afraid to indulge in acts of corruption. How is it that a Cameroonian is sitting and feeling very comfortable to steal billions from his country?
Are you promoting dictatorship?
Pardon?
Are you promoting dictatorship?
No. We are promoting democracy with strong institutions, strong institutions to which every individual, including the president of the republic, subject. You're not supposed to have a system where you have one man who is all powerful, appointing everywhere, doing everything, deciding how things go. In 1996, when they put in place Article 66, they said that the modalities for the implementation of Article 66 were to be put in place by a law. The SDF struggled in Parliament. We did a lot of moves in Parliament. When we finally arrived in 2006, the law came to Parliament, which in principle in the Constitution they said that the modalities for its application was to be determined by a law. When the law came to Parliament in 2006, it came with another suspension that they will now need a decree. The law has come. but the law has come, but they still need a decree of application to put in place other administrative formalities, administrative and practical formalities for the implementation of this law. That is political duty. You begin to ask yourself the question, is it that since 1996 up to today, the powers that be are still, they don't still see reason why Article 66 should be applied? Why is it? And this is where strong institutions are very relevant here. Why is it that an article of the Constitution is not being applied? Then institutions are being created by decree and made functional when the Constitution, which is the supreme norm that is talking and governing that particular aspect, is not also applied. You see that it is going the way of an individual, because legally it is not acceptable that the Constitution is put aside for a decree of the President of the Republic that creates CONAP to be applied. What final message are you sending to the final message is this, and there are a lot of things now that President Paul Biya will not do it. But President Paul Biya can only exceptionally, because God is still permitting him, still giving him that grace, irrespective of all what has happened, to be part of those that will lay the foundation for Cameroon going forward, is that exceptionally President Paul Biya should make sure that they put Cameroon on a foundation that will permit the young people properly fight this corruption. Give Cameroon a better basis to permit the young people fight out this cankerworm of corruption, because for him to do it as a person now is almost an impossibility. Thank you very much, Tj Rene, communicator with the SDF political party in Cameroon. I'll come to you. Your last word towards the end of this first phase of the program. What do you think needs to be done to combat corruption in all its aspects?
Corruption, we need a concerted action to fight corruption. The administration must not see corruption as the administration should get out of its mode of operation that public services which are supposed to be rendered gratuitously are being purchased by Cameroonians. Cameroonians need to understand that than for you to give into corruption because you want to get an undue favor, you better let that go, and it may be you will not die if you don't corrupt. And we need, like Mr. Chi is talking about President Paul Biya to pave the way. I think a problem cannot be a solution. The cause of a problem cannot be a solution to that same problem. Barrister, so what I'm saying is this.
Barrister, if to you the institutions that have been put in place or set aside to combat this phenomenon are to you not efficient enough, what do you think Cameroonians can do? The authorities that we can do to join hands together to overcome this?
Well, that is why I said we need a concerted action, and that this concerted action should pass through reconciliation. Reconciliation that the people who have ruined the taxpayers' money for their private endeavors should acknowledge that we have done wrong to the people, and the Cameroonians people should accept that yes, you have done wrong. What you have done, this is our property, and we move on. The question of creating prisons and sanctioning as you are looking at it, to me, will not serve any purpose, because if we have to go by virtue of the law, which is not being properly implemented, most of us will be in the prison. So we need a reconciliation and a law which, from the reconciliation table, we shall adopt a law which will not make discrimination between the President of the Republic and Mr. Enchi or Tetsonku Michael Lekelefak or Mr. Tj Rene. All Cameroonians be one when it comes to the fight against corruption.
Thank you very much, Barrister Lekelefak. Michael, you have a last word to say before we part ways from this first phase of the program. Yeah,
very briefly, how is the President of the Republic to accompany this process? You know, taking into consideration the grace that he's a beneficiary of. All of us, almost every Cameroonian in one way or the other can be guilty of corruption. So it is about us fixing it. Nobody is totally a saint. But we are saying, I am saying that the President of the Republic has to accompany the younger generation at this point in time him and his close aides have to accompany the younger generation, set a better foundation for this country. And what is that better foundation? To redefine the institutions of this country. Let them redefine the institutions of this country. That we have a judiciary that is truly independent. That we have an executive that is truly accountable to the legislative. And that we have a legislative that truly has the powers to check, all the other power, all the executive and the judiciary, and make sure that we have checks and balances. That is what the President of the Republic can do through dialogue and other, reforms.
Mr. Chi, just 30 seconds. I think Mr. Chi Diodone has been speaking very well, but I think when he is calling the President of the Republic to do that, he may be going against what he's saying, because he's preaching the system of one man, an all-powerful president. But we don't need an all-powerful president anymore. That is why I don't see a man who does not
is outgoing.
Thank you very much, dear panelists. Of course, during the inaugural speech of President Paul Biya on the 6th of November in Yaoundé at the Glass House, he informed the Cameroonians that he's going to intensify the fight against this phenomenon plaguing the society. And of course, these institutions are already there, and our panelists are proposing what they are proposing, and we want to believe that the authorities that will take these proposals very seriously. Thank you very much. We've come to the first phase, the end of the first phase of this program, and I want to remind our televiewers that please, we don't receive calls, because we'll be having a series of calls here, almost more than 200 calls. Please, we don't receive calls. Please send your worries through the message through WhatsApp on the numbers on your screen, so we're going to read them. You can send it through direct messages or WhatsApp. So thank you very much for watching, and just send your messages. To be very short so that we can read them, so that Cameroonians, of course, can really understand what you have in mind, so that the country can progress. Stay tuned, as we'll be back in a jiffy for the second topic.
Let's get that.
Just joining us, this is Full Television, and it's your program Game of Thrones here in Yaoundé. Of course, we divert directly or enter the second topic of the day, which is of course talking about the re-election of Samuel Eto'o. He's the one now to man the activities of football throughout the national territory. And of course, the question that we'll be asking our panelists tonight is, will these new mandates meet the managerial expectations? It is no news that just a few hours after his re-election, he convened a meeting with technical experts, and of course the main coach that was manning activities in the national team, I'm talking about the Indomitable Lions, who happens to be Mark Breeze, a Belgian tactician, was expelled or been sanctioned or sacked from his position as the head coach of the national team. And today we have a Cameroonian that is manning this same position, not leaving out some of the top players who were, of course, making waves, such as Abubakar Vincent, Chupo Maxime Moting, and even Andre Onana, even Zambo Anguissa, and a lot of them. They are no more in the face of the Indomitable Lions. Cameroonians are asking, is this actually the right path? Our panelists, of course, will deliberate on this topic. I'll comment with you, Barrister Kelefak. Michael, Samuel Eto'o has now been re-elected as the president of Cameroon Football Federation, FECAFOOT, something that it's been serious problems between some of the authorities, not leaving out the Ministry of sports and physical education, the tussling and the bustling, but at the end of the day, he has been re-elected, and immediately after his re-election, we see a serious changes that is being operating or taking place within the atmosphere of football in Cameroon. Now, do you think that these are changes, the appointment of a new coach, which of course is a Cameroonian, and manning this position, do you think Cameroonians are expecting the lost victory, are expecting to regain the lost victory that has been out of their possession for some time?
Mr. Enchi, to be honest, football for a while has been some sort of distraction, as politicians will say it. Why? Because we are in a football-loving country. Cameroon is a great nation. Football is one of those factors that reunite Cameroonians. So, as an individual, with FECAFOOT, the management of FECAFOOT, I have, for a while, been thinking that Cameroon is becoming a place where everybody seeks to get his own part and exploit it the way it suits his or her appetite. Why do I say so? Because when you look at the tussle or what we observe with at FECAFOOT and the issue about players today that you just mentioned on Abubakar Vincent and all his comrades, with the re-election of Samuel Eto'o today and asking about football. Is it the vision of Eto'o or is it the vision of Cameroonians?
Now, if actually we've seen changes like this, it means he is trying to re-establish a football atmosphere in Cameroon that of course will bring in trophies. You come to discover that some of the players have been there for years, and during his speech immediately after his re-election, he made Cameroonians to understand that no one is indispensable in Cameroon, meaning Cameroon is bigger than each and everyone. And today, he's applying some of the things that he said during his inaugural speech. Now,
we should not say
it is a way forward.
I should not say nobody is indispensable because I want to use it against Mr. Enchi or Mr. Chidodone, but I should begin from myself, from my own past experience. If I was a footballer and I was indispensable, I should make it today that nobody should come after me and should be indispensable. I don't want to go by that, but I think where we are today, we don't need to come in with we need everybody to participate in one way or the other. Even if we want to think that Abubakar Vincent and others are not there, just the fact that they have served as well.
But Barrister, if there is no discipline in any community, do you think there will be progress?
Discipline, we need discipline, but we cannot through indiscipline become discipline. This is what the point I'm trying to make.
Who has been indisciplined and becoming disciplined?
So what I'm saying here is that when you see FECAFOOT, the management of FECAFOOT, yes, I liked the fact that FECAFOOT should be managed by the footballers, but I don't think the politics of Eto'o is politics which is helping to build the football family to be a reconciled football family. That if we have a footballer managing it, but we have a FECAFOOT which gives me the impression that we have somebody at the head who is capable to settle scores with X or Y footballer because of yesterday. That is my impression.
Thank you very much, Barrister Elefak. Of course, I'll come back to you, Chidodone, from a communicator with the SDF opposition party in Cameroon. Samuel Eto'o today has been re-elected as the president of FECAFOOT for a 4-year term. And of course, immediately after his re-election, he made a statement that he's going to put things right. And a few hours that follow suit, things are beginning to transform as Cameroonians who loved the presence of Vincent Abubakar, calling him with his show name Abushu. He's no more with the team. And Eric Maxime Choupo-Moting, who is of course making waves in Europe. Zambo Anguissa, same with Napoli club and the other clubs that he's been playing with. He's no more with the team. Now, do you think with the presence, with the re-election of Samuel Eto'o, Cameroonians are going to enjoy the benefits of football in Cameroon. Are these footballers, those who are in the various third, second divisions in Cameroon, are they going to reap the fruit of their labor with the presence of Samuel Eto'o at the helm of football activities in Cameroon?
Well, why hoping that we do not get into the legal ping pong that we have been used to in the past years, where the FECAFOOT says this and the Minister of Sports says the other. When I say so, because his election just passed. Before his election passed, it was the object of controversy. And I cannot tell whether that controversy has been totally wiped out.
His candidacy was unopposed during the election. Yeah. And it is very obvious that during the election, or before the election, he had to send a letter to the Ministry of Sports and Physical Education to actually send some representatives to participate during the election. But the ministry, based on information, was saying that it has identified some electoral malpractices. Now, but at the end of the day, some of the World Football Governing Body, which of course is FIFA, and the Confederation of African Football, sent some of their emissaries, and they were present during this election that took place on the 29th of November 2025 here at Mbankumu. Now, with the presence of these emissaries in Cameroon, and with the autonomy that FECAFOOT do have, do you think it's a way forward to create a very positive, serene, and transparent atmosphere when it concerns football management in Cameroon?
Well, the presence of these emissaries will not take away the mechanisms, the legal mechanisms that the state has put in place to manage the soccer game in Cameroon.
But FECAFOOT is part of the World Football Governing Body.
Yeah, I'll explain. It will not take away all those the technical aspects, you know, that are, which have been put in place by the state in the management of football in Cameroon. Take note that the state is financing the football game in Cameroon. I am not saying that the fact that the state is financing the football game, the federation is not supposed to be autonomous in line with the text of FIFA. But to say that the laws as they are now and the practice does not actually reflect the desired autonomy that the federation is supposed to have. That is why FIFA itself, at one point in time, during the legal ping pong that we observed some time ago, recommended that the state and the federation should enter into dialogue in view of modifying some of the legal instruments that regulate football in Cameroon. By making that recommendation, they understand that even being a federation of global standing, you know, states also have a role to play in the management of football in their own countries. And take note that the state has the powers to dissolve FECAFOOT, you know. So you cannot just totally put them aside. That is why I was saying that, hoping that we are not served something like that in the days ahead. It's on those bases that we can now be talking that we hope that it does not come. But then, talking about the desired results, whether we're going to be having the desired results, we do wish that the Lions could have more victories, but the environment in which
Chididone, actually, the individual Lions, they are preparing for the upcoming African Cup of Nations, and of course, with the presence of Samuel Eto'o since 2021 as the president of this federation, he's been doing a lot, talking to the fact that a lot of transparency. Cameroonians today can easily assess their financial situations in terms of contracts, in terms of other activities, thanks to the presence, because when he came into FECAFOOT, he was trying to make sure that Cameroonians can actually get the financial status. At times, he used to publish financial status and responsibilities and so on and so forth for Cameroonians to actually understand. Now, this has created a platform for people to actually know what is going on within the football atmosphere in Cameroon. Now, do you think with the presence and the financial assistance that these federations do receive from both national and international bodies, the presence of Samuel Eto'o is a blessing? His 4-term mandate is going to be a prosperity to football, both the local and at the international level.
We don't wish that the presence of Samuel Eto'o, who has done Cameroon well on the pitch, should be a misfortune.
Are you contesting his managerial skills?
No, I've not said so. I said we do not wish that his presence at the helm of FECAFOOT should be a misfortune. He has done a lot for Cameroon on the pitch. We are rather hoping that better results could come. But he has had 4 years. He has had 4 years already.
Based on his precedence, can you assess and see something marvelous as compared to the previous? Because today you can see the FECAFOOT headquarters that is, of course, having a very beautiful infrastructure today at Wada. And Cameroonians, of course, are enjoying. You see the treatment that he's been trying to make sure that the players who are representing the colors of the country do sit in a conducive atmosphere. This is, of course, a sign of prosperity, Jodonechi.
Yeah, we have to appreciate the improvements in terms of infrastructure. The building of a befitting headquarters is good. But take note that when you talk about transparency, at one point in time, Cameroonians were asking to know, to see the contract of one All Sport, which was, I don't know what you call it in French, the équipementier of Cameroon. They were asking to see the contract of one All Sport, and later on they did not see it, and we gathered that at one point the contract with the Football Federation has suddenly come to an end in a fiasco. There are technical issues concerning football that I cannot, of course, I do not master, because it's not an issue of principal focus to me. But just to say on a general perspective that with respect to all what has happened now, I am afraid for the psychological environment around the whole issue, as he's taking the decisions he's taking, appointing this person and appointing that. Could it be that he's appointing simply because he believes that the people can do the job? Could it be he's taking them because he wants to prove that he is in charge? Could it be he's taking them because of the dissent between the different camps within the Cameroonian football family, which is becoming a kind of conflict now? You know, could it be? Could it be? If it is far away from actually permitting Cameroonian to win victories, the results are going to speak for themselves.
Chijodone, of course, I'll come back to you, Barrister. It's obvious that today we do not have a Belgian tactician at the helm of activities in Cameroon as the head coach of the national team. Today we are having a Cameroonian who is managing the activities of the national team. Now, just to remind you that when Rigobert Song was actually the head coach, Cameroonians do applaud his performances, and at one point in time they were not satisfied with what he gave to Cameroonians, and today, and they were the one claiming that they need a foreign expatriate to come and resolve football activities in Cameroon. President Samuel Eto'o has been re-elected as the president of FECAFOOT today, and he's coming back with this same notion. Do you think Cameroon, the Indomitable Lions, are preparing to bring back the Nations Cup that is, of course, on the ground?
Mr. Enchi, I think the Cameroonians are prepared, and Cameroonians are always prepared. But one thing that we need to accompany the preparedness is not just our state of being prepared, but Mr. Chi talked about the psychological impact.
No, but when we look at the players that has been called this time around,
the players called,
they are youths.
It's not the question of youthfulness. It's not the question of youthfulness. We I don't hold Etofis accountable in any case. But what I want,
he's the president of Cameroon Football Federation, and he makes a lot of choices.
He makes a lot of choices. When I said he is simply, Eto'o may be simply a beneficiary of the system which is in place. Like I said in my introductory sentence in this concerning this topic, that state institution seems to be appropriated. If not, you will not see the torso in an association will not be going through a torso where you see a minister, and it's not done elsewhere. It's only in Cameroon where we see this because of our proximity with an institution. So, but now coming to your question, if the spirit which is fueling whatever is going on is the spirit which builds, which empowers, not a spirit which is to prove my worth as an individual, the spirit to prove my worth in my past glories, that would be wonderful.
But that's experience.
No, when you talk about experience, you remember in one of the outings where we had certain declarations that no one has a place in the team, and we saw repercussions which followed such a declaration by the same Samuel Etofis. So today, if he's coming with what he is coming, we don't need, when the human person as a whole needs love in order to be productive. But if you come with command to show your authority does not make man to be productive. It rather makes man to be radicalized, and some sort of the feeling of resentment.
Now, but Barrister, Cameroonians need results. If actually during his 4-year term he doesn't provide the results that Cameroonians are expecting, don't you think there will be a problem?
There will be a problem. There will be a problem. That's why,
Barrister. That's why he's trying. He's making all the efforts
Mr. Enchi,
to bring in talents that actually produce a result.
Mr. Enchi, the first election of Samuel Etofis at Fekafoot, I would think that election to me was even more credible than what just took place of recent concerning the Israeli election. Why do I say so? You see an election which there were candidates vying for the post, and that he emerged victorious. That was to say that there was dissent, but that the people chose him. But this time, that to build an election, to go into an election, there is a single candidate, and you see that it is I can think of a well-planned strategy in order to carry on. So this is not an election to me.
Do you think Etofis is that hungry and wants to use Fekafoot for his
there is no question of hunger in Cameroon? Do you think the people who cling to power is because of hunger? It's not because of hunger. They have their reasons which I cannot tell. But what I'm saying is that we should learn to be servants and not being safe in our positions. You are asking about football. Those young people, those young guys you are calling, we can take first division clubs in Cameroon today, and if we fill them with love, if we fill them, we make them feel concerned that they are defending the national colors, we may have the result. But if you are calling them just because you want to exercise the authority that I will not call X, I will not call Chidorone, who is supposed to be there because of my personal differences with him, to go and call somebody because you want to show him that you love him, whereas this is not administration.
In the past, they had problems of bonuses, but today the problems are no more there. In the past, players were not in possession of salaries, but today, with his presence, Cameroonians who are into football, they do have salaries. Don't you think this is a green light?
I'm not refusing the green light, but the green light and results. The results will not come because they're having salaries. Results will not come because they're having this. But results, you can give salary, but under which conditions are they receiving their salary? That is why I said we need to build the team spirit. That team spirit that each and every one, the prayers of the former Indomitable Lions, the moral support that the Indomitable Lions come at times to give to the players is sufficient motivation for them to go beyond their limits. Take for example somebody like Abouakar Vincent. Abouakar Vincent, he is of age, yes, but you remember the cup which took place in Cameroon. Just the Nations Cup which took place in Cameroon, is it 2022? If my memory is good, you remember? I think he at the history he made at the Amadou Ahidjo Stadium, the third position, where he cut from out of the bench to come score 3 goals to come in a match that Cameroon was being led. I'm saying that's
already a past glory.
It's a past glory. It's a past glory. It's a past glory.
Cameroonians, of course, can exercise their talent and produce a result.
It's a past glory. That is why when I'm bringing the case of Aboubacar Vincent, I'm not saying that Aboubacar Vincent should be on the bench. It should be a player today, but the presence of Aboubacar Vincent as a former Indomitable Lions to come and see, even is it the 9 shirt of Coton Sport who is supposed to be there from the national, from the amateurs to take the national colors. When you see somebody like Aboubacar Vincent and thinks of this past glory, he wants to repeat it in his own time. But if you just treat, because you are an authority and you want to treat the past glory as if they have no impact, you are a failure, because we have to build. We need to build collectively. We don't need to keep some out in order to build others. No, I'm not saying that they must be there part of the team, but I'm trying to say that we need. Let us not take decisions because of authority, but let's take decisions with love.
Thank you very much, Barrister. Of course, Chidilone, we are coming towards the end of this program. I just want to put this into you, your last word as we are getting to the end. Now, what are you expecting from Samuel Eto'o, given the fact that he has been complaining of irregularities, he has been complaining of disrespect? That was why he had to take certain decisions that he took, and today we are seeing a wonderful change that is ongoing, and the majority of Cameroonians, or some Cameroonians, are accepting it, are happy with the changes, and they are saying that they are in love with the fact that a Cameroonian should be at the helm of activities, not depending on foreign expatriates. Now, what are you, of course, what do you expect from Samuel Eto'o within this period, so that within the 4-year mandate, Cameroon can increase its stars on its jersey from 5 to 6?
Very briefly, before I answer your question, first of all, his recent elections suggest to me 3 things. The first thing is that him standing for the elections alone could suggest that some other actors have decided to allow him stand for the elections while they come up with some other legal issues later. It could suggest that some other actors have decided to say, all right, since you want to take it, since you think that you can do it without us, we leave it to you, do whatever you want with it. It could also suggest that the actors have said, well, after everything, we acknowledge that you are very good, you have very good plans, all right, have the platform to do it. This third option would have been is a very desirable one. But whatever the situation is, we are going to see how things are going to be unfolding in the days ahead. As for expectations that I have with respect to him as president of FECAFOOD, I will tell you very honestly that I have no expectations. He has his mandate. Let him do that which he wants. He will be judged by the results that he will produce. We had 4 years already. We have what we had. Then he has another 4 years on condition that other legal issues do not come up. We'll see the results that will come up. Because, you know, when I say I have no expectations is because I have come to discover that politics has been, football has been hijacked by politicians. And these politicians are from the CPDM. So it is always among them. Whether they allow Eto'o go ahead or they don't allow Eto'o go ahead at one point in time is the outcome of their political calculations. So I expect very little from that.
Thank you very much, Chidilone. Thank you, Barrister, for your presence. We've come to the end of this program, Game of Thrones on Info Television. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure. We just want to remind you that as you are leaving, programs continue on Info Television, and this very program, Game of Thrones, will be rebroadcast at 4 p.m. on Saturday. Stay blessed. Thank you very much. Keep watching Info TV and stay away from trouble. From us, we say good night.